Attention all veterans and aspiring business warriors. Get ready to charge into the world of entrepreneurship with our dynamic podcast, Vet to Vet. Join us as we bridge the generational gap, bringing you the best of both the Gulf War era and the Afghanistan War era. From the battlefields to the boardrooms, we'll share the frontline strategies, hard-earned wisdom, and insider tips to help you conquer the challenges of business ownership. Stay tuned for some straight talk, occasional humor, and valuable insights to navigate the trenches of entrepreneurship. Welcome to Vet, where the spirit of service meets the drive to success.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Vet to Vet podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Tom.
I'm Joe.
And we've got another great episode for you today. Joe, kick it off. Let us know what great subjects are in store for our listeners today.
All right, so first off, the first great subject that we're going to talk about is I'm down 40 pounds.
Holy crap, man. How'd you do that?
So, not eating. No, I'm just kidding. I just changed my diet, and I started working out. As opposed to the last episode when we talked about the gym and stuff, I've actually started hitting the gym, so I'm down 42 pounds.
That's freaking awesome, man.
So bouncing between 41 and 42, these couple pounds I'm at is just tough. I've been fighting like the 205, 204 mark for about a week now.
Well, depending on who you talk to, it's all about stackables or stack the wins or, layers of a cake. Just don't eat it.
Do the reps.
Right.
Small deposits.
Exactly. So whatever you like to call it, it's all the same thing. So I'm proud of you, man. I remember last time we talked about this, that you had the diet dialed in, you were doing carnivore, and I definitely try to press you to incorporate movement and some resistance training, and I think that's going to pay off for you big time.
Yeah, I'm also throwing carbs back into my diet now too, so trying to get back to somewhat of a normal eating habit.
Sure.
So, what have you been doing?
Steroids. No.
All right.
Man, I've been consistent since I was 28 years old. For me, not moving is just not an option. It doesn't matter whether I get up at 4 or 5 in the morning. If I know my first obligation of the day is at 8 o'clock, I have to dedicate time for just myself.
It's funny because Clay was like, he goes, "Where's Tom?" I was like, "I don't know." And he goes, "Well, last time I saw him, he's still working out this morning." So I figured, yeah, he's working out. He's going to be a little bit late today.
Yeah.
A little late to start, but.
Yeah, normally I'm up by 5. Today, because we're doing this, I knew I needed to be up by 4. Yeah. So I regardless of whatever happens throughout the day, it doesn't matter. I know at the end of today the first obligation for the next day, because I don't allow myself to go to sleep until I know what it is, because I have to dedicate a couple hours to myself every day.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. I am not the person that can work out at night. I can't. I have to give myself the time that I need right away at the beginning of the day, and then everything else after that, I can roll with the punches.
Yeah, Jen and I were just talking about that, and I was like, Tom and I had this conversation the whole last podcast that, you don't work out in the evenings because as soon as you say you do, you don't.
Right.
And so we're walking the evenings. That's all.
So, I mean, you and I are both veterans, and I don't know how it is in the Marines. I know how it is in the Army, where we're flexible but not efficient. And for me, being able to maintain that flexibility throughout the day has been a really big part of being successful and just getting shit done. So if I know that I'm flexing with the day, I will flex until my day comes to an end. So one aspect that I picked up working as a contractor for AFSOC is Air Force Special Operations Command. For the non-military guys, Air Force is efficient and not flexible. So I kind of combine a little of both. So for me to be efficient, I have to get my shit done for me first thing in the day, and then I can kick over to my Army side and just be flexible throughout the rest of the day.
So, you talk about the flexibility, and it kind of leads me into what I want to talk about today. It's been something that's been sitting on my mind. Tom and I listen to podcasts all day. If we're not working on, well, actually, if we're even inspecting a house, we're on podcasts. We everything is a self-help podcast. It's a business-oriented podcast. It's a growth podcast. No matter what it is, it's about business. It's about us. It's about what we do. Well, I was listening to one from our industry. It was on Inspector Toolbelt. I'll go ahead and name the podcast. It's a great podcast for those of you that are inspectors and are watching this, or if you want to be an inspector. But anyway, I was listening to it, and they were talking about the psychosis in our industry, where everybody basically thinks the same way. Groupthink. And there's no flexibility in it. And their example was how we price. The statistic was that in 1980, our industry charged $325, $350 per inspection. We are now 30 years beyond that. 40 years.
Yeah.
And I can't math, but we're about 40 years past that now, and the average inspection is $350.
Insane.
Fucking inflation's through the roof, and we're charging the same price. And the mentality behind that is, and I heard it the other day. I was talking to somebody, and they're saying, "Yeah, our prices are about $350." And I'm like, "Well, why?" They're like, "Well, that's the average." Right, but you're not an average inspector, and the guy's not. He's absolutely not an average inspector. And the company he works for, they're not an average inspection company, but they're charging an average price, and it's because everybody else does it. And there's no flexibility in that thinking. And so I was listening to that podcast, and while it does pertain to our industry, I started thinking about it. I was like, that really spans the whole spectrum for business. In the business world, we do the same thing. We market the same. We sell the same. We do everything the same because that's how everybody does it. And you and I, coming from the military background, that's not how we operate. The military, we have processes and procedures, and we do things the same way, but we are also taught and trained to think outside that box. We have to, because no situation is ever going to be the same. And we've actually taken our business and done the same thing. We've looked at our model, and we've looked at everybody else's model, and we're like, what can we do more? We try not to get set into that mindset. And for those of you that are starting your business, or even if you've been established in your business, think about how you're doing that. Are you doing it just like everybody else because that's the way it's done? Or is there another way?
Well, that's a great point. I think something that all of us as business owners should think of is if we're charging an average price should beget average service.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with offering tiered packages for what you do. There are people that are going to be on a budget. So it's not that they don't deserve high quality service, but as business owners, we can't give stuff away for free. Right? Like, we're in business to stay in business. We're not in business to go bankrupt. So consider having tiered programs. Consider having, what's your gold package? What's your platinum package? Maybe what's your silver package? You know what I mean? Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. Offer something to each level of consumer so you don't put yourself in a box.
Yeah. And that goes to, thinking outside the box. It's not following that norm.
Right.
Just because if I charge this amount, I'm going to lose customers. Well, you probably are.
Right.
But that's okay, because the customers you do gain are probably going to be the customers that you want.
If you ran a shoe store, if everyone came in the door, do you think everyone is going to be able to go to the Versace section and pick out a pair of leather loafers? You know what I mean?
Right.
Part of being a business owner is trying to absorb information that's coming from the consumer. What are they looking for? Being customizable is huge. You have to listen, right? Try to understand what they're looking for. What do they want? What do they want out of you? What can you offer? You can't just give one quote. You can't just give one price.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because every situation is different. Every consumer has their unique needs, and as business owners, it's our job to help people, right? Everything that we do, if you're effective at sales, it's all about helping people. That's it. It's not about knowing the script. It's not about trying to reinvent the wheel. It's just about listening, absorb the information, and if you're an effective entrepreneur, you're a problem solver.
Yep.
First and foremost.
And that's what you're doing. You're solving the problem for that customer.
Correct.
At a price, but you're still solving a problem for that customer. They
Sure.
need shoes. You're going to provide the shoes that they need, that they can afford.
Correct.
You can also look at it, from a standpoint of marketing. I remember when we first started, merging together, and we were talking about marketing and how we do it. And, I always explained, what the norm was and what people did. And I never subscribed to it. And that was, for home inspectors, it's to go out and to visit brokerages, put a candy jar on their desk, go back every week and fill it up. You go to all these networking events with realtors to try and get to them. But COVID changed that. Not to bring up a freaking weird time in our lives, but that actually changed everything, because you don't have traditional marketing anymore. Agents were not in the offices anymore, and they really haven't come back to the office. I mean, we're right next door to a team, and I think on any given day they might have 2 agents in there, which isn't bad. At least they got 2.
Sure.
But we're not going to find them there. So now we have to think outside the box. But there's still companies in our industry that are like, yeah, you got to go market to these brokerages. Why? Just because that's the way it's done or has been done always doesn't mean that's the only way it can be done. We have to, when you're in your business, as Tom just said, you're a problem solver. And if you don't change the mentality and get out of that, start thinking outside that box, you'll forever be stuck in that box.
So let's put this in another perspective that hopefully, I know you and I will understand, but hopefully our audience understands. What would happen if our TTPs never changed? Tactics, right?
Yeah.
Procedures. What would happen to our men and women in the field if TTPs never evolved with the battlefield?
Eventually we would just kind of, we'd cease to exist.
Right. That's exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Right there.
It's just, I don't know. It's one of those things that it's just kind of eating at me. I don't want to see business owners, people that we coach, we mentor, fall into that trap of this is the way it was done. I know that you and I have never told anybody that we've ever spoken with that, this is the way it has to be done. We give the advice on, here's what worked. More of that mentor coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, when you listen to a lot of these podcasters or these influencers that you see on the internet, that the only thing that they've ever grown is just viewership. They've never grown a product. They've never grown a business. They're not in the process of growing a business.
Right.
They talk about the same exact things, and it's funny how even some of the podcasts that we listen to, they all say the same thing, and they're all preaching it in the same way. And maybe I guess there could be an argument that, well, it's because that's the way it works. Is it? I think I like to see the entrepreneur move out of that realm and start thinking outside the box and start doing more. If I say thinking outside the box one more time, I might hang myself. But I want them to do more and to come up with new ideas. There's got to be new ways. I remember when I first started in human resources, I was trying to create a training program on something. And I was really struggling with it because, I'm doing it from scratch. And the HR generalist that was there, he's like, why are you doing that? He goes, there's nothing new.
Right.
Everything has already been created. Everything that you do is plagiarized. You're not inventing anything. You're just repurposing it. And I think that if we're going to repurpose, and I believe in repurposing to fit what you do and your personality. I think that's what drives your business harder.
Yeah, so I mean, you get a lot of that copycat syndrome from people that just aren't original,
Yeah.
and we've seen it in many other industries. I'm sure you understand where this is coming from. But typically speaking, if you looked at somebody that's doing something effective, there's nothing wrong with emulation. Okay,
Right.
that's what we all do. We see something effective, you recognize it, you see that you can do it, and then you put your own spin on it. That's emulation. That is not duplication. Okay, what happens when you go out and you start duplicating the efforts that someone else has done before you? You're a copycat. What happens in 99% of those cases is the person you copied that from is already 2 or 3 steps ahead in evolving and considering the next step and the next thing to do.
Yeah.
And so it ends up as a watered down version of the original.
Yeah, and you're always behind.
Correct.
You're never going to get ahead of somebody. You're not going to. You're going to push your business forward, just because. But it's not. You're never going to. You're never going to capture market share.
Right.
Because somebody's already going to have caught it.
Yeah.
So, and when you start talking about market share, you got to start looking at, what you offer. We just had a meeting 2 days ago on our offerings, trying to expand and based on what we do, what can we do more to draw in revenue? How can we help our clients better? And it's not, the within our industry, there's a very specific set of things that you do and that you don't do. And I liked our meeting the other day where, we thought outside that box. Here you go. I'm about to hang myself outside the box. But we're looking at other items that can help benefit our clients. We're looking at the thought of just, opening up something where we offer a means for repairs that's not available. That's not something that traditional companies in our industry do.
Correct.
So we're going at it from a standpoint we don't want to follow that norm. And I think what our strength is on that is because, from a military standpoint, nobody does that. You're taught some standard operating procedures. They're just a guideline.
Correct.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
You have to read the room, basically.
Yeah, I see that. I see that quite a bit. The lack of people's ability to read the room. The big frustrating thing for me is, especially through like human encounters with other people throughout the industry, just by networking with people, you start to see more and more of a. I don't want to say like a lack of personality, but just like a disconnected mindset. There aren't a lot of people that engage like this anymore.
Right.
This is something that falls more into that high performer category. Like you really have to put yourself in the room with other people, and you have to want to build that relationship. You have to want to network with people and understand body language and understand how to read people's mannerisms. It almost feels like a form of interrogating, but it's an innate skill. You either have it or you don't.
Right.
And the only way to have it is to keep working on it. You can't just say that like, well, I'm not an extrovert and I don't want to be around people. I'm not an extrovert and I don't like being around people. And you force yourself to do it every opportunity you have to develop those skills. So that way you can fall from the category of, I don't have it, I don't want to do that, to I still may not want to do it, but I have it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You remember the first time we met at that, it was a happy hour event for a realtor group.
Yeah.
You and I had zero social skills, and we just stood in the corner.
Yep.
And we like tried to coax one another to who is going to go first. Like, okay, all you have to do is just go talk to one person. And after a while, you'll get used to it. I remember you telling me that the first time I ever met you. And
I think my first question to you though is, are you a roofing company?
yeah.
Nope. Oh, okay.
I asked you if you were a foundation company.
Yeah.
You're like, nope. But that's a great thing to understand. Like, read the room. Want to build relationships. If you don't want to build relationships and you're a business owner, just get the fuck out of the business world.
Yeah.
Go find somebody that you can go work for who's going to pay you a decent salary, give you a decent lifestyle, and just move on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There is a massive difference between being an entrepreneur and being a business owner. If you're an entrepreneur, you are a problem solver.
Yeah.
Point blank, the end. That's it. Not every entrepreneur is a business owner, and not every business owner is an entrepreneur. If all you want is to build your own little small business, cool, kosher, best of luck to you. I guarantee you're just going to fizzle out.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to not only have to be a problem solver, you have to want to be a problem solver. It's super, super important.
Right.
You know, yesterday I had that networking event that I had to go to, which was a total fail. But, you know, we got to the event, Lydia and I sit there and I go, okay, I just want you to be aware that I am so uncomfortable right now. This is not my zone here. But I knew I had to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I was going into it. But, you know, it was difficult. And as, you know, a business owner, as an entrepreneur, those are things you have to do. You have to do the uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, you can tie that back to your, just personally, in order to do things, just to move your day forward, to be better, you have to be uncomfortable. Can't be afraid to be uncomfortable.
Well, exactly. You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Right. Do you think I want to get up at 4 a.m? Do you think I want to put myself in 50-degree water and cold plunge? Like, no, I don't want to do any of that. But I know that if I don't do it, the rest of my day is going to feel like shit. Right. Because I know how good I feel after I've embraced the suck for that small amount of time. Same thing when it comes to personal skills. Yep. Same goes with networking. The more comfortable you can get being uncomfortable, the more you benefit, the higher the reward is, the intrinsic value raises. Excuse me. It's just a net benefit all around.
Yeah, and when you look at it like from a networking standpoint, again, I'm totally not an extrovert. But when I go to those networking events, or I go out to these meetings and things that we have, after having those conversations, it feels rewarding. Like I accomplished something. I overcame something in my psyche that was really holding me back on those. So when you can embrace that idea that it's going to be better once you're out of that situation, it becomes a lot easier.
So let's kind of put this in perspective for that groupthink philosophy. Who are you surrounding yourself with? If the only people in your inner circle are the ones that are reinforcing your ideas and they're not challenging your ideas, it's probably not a good circle to be in.
Right.
Especially when you start talking about, how you price whatever your product or service is. There's nothing wrong with looking throughout the industry and benchmarking yourself based on what you think you fall into that category. The problem is that most people see like, well, if the average price for this service is X, I could maybe go a little bit more, but then there are far fewer people that are priced higher than the average. So if I just see that this is the average and then I price myself just below that, then more people are going to be attracted to my product or service. And the issue becomes is now what you're doing to your industry is you're watering it down.
Absolutely.
Because the next person's going to come back in behind you and they're going to be like, well, if I just price myself a little bit more below that guy, then I'll get some of his share.
Yeah.
And there is no net benefit. The goal is to raise the bar, to raise the ceiling. If you're not the person trying to bust the ceiling in your industry, nobody else is going to do it.
Right.
You have to be that breakthrough person to level up whatever your industry, product, or service is. You know, you have to want to be that maverick. That's truly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the guy that breaks the mold? You know what I mean? Eisenhower, he's a guy that broke the mold. You know what I mean? Churchill, right? Not a conventional guy. Like, who do you want to be, right? Do you want to be just the average run-of-the-mill person in your industry? Or do you want to be that Elon Musk? Do you want to be that Tom Brady? Do you want to be that Nikola Tesla? That person that challenges convention and raises the bar. That's who we want to be. That's not who we want to be. That's who we are and what we're doing.
Right. So, I mean, I guess when you start looking at it and you to, kind of pull everything together, if you're starting a business or if you are already in a business, sit back, take some time, sit in a cold bath or cold plunge, go to a sauna, do some personal development, get outside of the desk, move away from the desk, go sit in the woods, go sit in a large field, on the beach, whatever it is, to take you away from the business and kind of reflect on how you want to build a business, how you want to grow your business. Is your business moving in a direction that you like? For us, we take long road trips to go to jobs. We're on the road constantly. We have all this time to listen to podcasts, personal development, and think about how it can apply to our business. And, are we moving in a direction that is going to grow us and to expand us in ways that other companies don't, that will set us apart? And if you can do that, you'll see some massive growth. I think that I think that it's essential to not follow the norms. And I don't know, it goes back to just how we were trained. You have to just always be deviating, be fluid is what
Right.
you got to do. I do want to offer one challenge. So we've been working on something. We think it's pretty cool. I'm not going to roll out the whole thing, and I'm not going to give you the acronym either yet, but we will. I want to have a challenge for you guys. So anybody that's watching this podcast, we're going to do something that's not the norm. For those of you that have been in business for a while and you haven't embraced it, and Tom and I have encountered lots of people in business through the events that we go to that have been in business for a while and they're not embracing it. And I want you to embrace social media. So we've come up with a challenge for ourselves. Tom's really good at it, and I suck. Those of you that follow me on my other pages, you know. I have a challenge. For the next 90 days, I want you to do one post on whether it's on Instagram, Facebook, or whatever it is. One post. I want you to do 2 reels, 1 story, and I want you to go live 1 time. I want you to do those 4 things: post, reel, story, live. I want you to do it for 90 days, and I want you to message us. Our emails will be in the bio down below, or in the description of the podcast. Email us. Tell us if you see a difference, because a lot of companies do not embrace social media. I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of it, but I recognize the time that it is something we have to incorporate. And you've embraced it a lot more than I have, and you've seen a lot of benefits to it. So I want to challenge all of you to do the same thing. I'm doing it. I want you guys to hold me accountable to it. Tom holds me accountable every day to freaking everything. So you gotta have a good business partner that does that.
Standards are important.
Standards are absolutely important. So I want to throw out that challenge to you guys. Message us. Tell us how it's working out for you. I promise you're going to see some results.
Yeah, for sure. And then this is another shout out that we need to do. So we need home inspectors. Okay. Yeah. We need people that want to be a part of what we're doing here. So my shout out to you guys is I want anyone interested in getting into the home inspection industry, especially if you're in the Phoenix metro area. I don't care if you're out of state, if you're somewhere else, that's cool. I'll help you any way I can. But if you're in the Phoenix metro area, I want you to send me a 30-second reel of why you think you'd be a good fit to work with us.
Absolutely.
All right? For the love of God, send me a 30-second reel and tell me why you want to be a part of what we're doing here. And I will personally walk you through the entire process.
And that can be one of your reels for your challenge.
Right.
We're also looking for veterans. Of course, as a veteran organization, we want to help veterans for sure. And if you are already a home inspector and you want to hear about what we offer, how we're trying to change the industry, and find out if you might be interested in working with us, reach out. We'll absolutely, we'd love to talk with you about it.
Speaking of, all right, how can we find you online?
So you can find me online, one, through my email, info@foundationupllc.com. You can find me on Instagram at Foundation Up Home Services. You can find me on TikTok as, I think it's
Joe the Inspector.
It might be Joe the Inspector.
I think that's what it is.
Might be.
Joe _the
I think that's what it is,
Inspector.
yes.
Yeah, something like that.
And on Facebook, it's Foundation Up Home Services or Joe Worthy.
Man,
how about you?
That's all of them.
How we find you?
Yeah, so on Instagram, I'm the Vet Inspector. My business page is at AZ Precision INSP. You can follow me there. That's probably where I am the most active, where we are the most active, I should say. Facebook, Thomas White. You're probably going to have to thumb through about 60,000 other Thomas Whites.
What? That's not common? Or is it common?
It might. Yeah, I don't know. Who cares? Find me there. And TikTok, I believe.
Are you on TikTok?
I got to ask Seth. I got to ask my media guy. I don't know. Maybe we are.
Anyways, guys, we're out there. You'll find us. If you go to any one of our pages, everything gets referenced back. So reach out to us. With that, I want you to like, follow, subscribe, share the videos. If you know veterans that are interested in talking to us, shoot them our information. If you are a veteran, reach out to us.
Yeah, also shoot us questions, guys.
Absolutely.
All right, give us some feedback. Let us know, what do you want to hear from us? What opinions do you want to pick our brains about?
We got a lot of opinions.
Yeah, for sure. It could be about business. It could be about personal shit. It could be about relationships. I don't care what it is, all right? I want to hear from you. I want you to leave a comment, shoot us a DM, send us a smoke signal, type out a Morse code message. I don't give a shit. Let us know something that you're interested in, and we'll talk about it. We'll give you our perspective, and if we can give you some advice to help you navigate either the highs and lows of life, or to possibly help you out with something you're struggling in with your business, we'd love to help any way we can. At the end of the day, that's what we are. We're problem solvers, and we're literally doing what we're doing just because we can help others.
Wet versus dry chicken wings?
I like moist chicken wings.
That's just a disgusting word, but all right. Moist.
Yeah, moist. I don't care if it's disgusting. That's your problem. I like extra crispy.
Extra crispy moist?
Right. Yeah. It's crispy on the outside, but moist on the inside.
Okay. All right. I got you.
Yeah.
All right, guys. That's what we got for today. Hopefully you get something out of it. Again, like, subscribe, and follow.
All right, guys. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Catch you later.